Rabotai, welcome back to Dal Amot Shel Halacha. Ela LaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ela Arba Amot Shel Halacha Bavad. Rabotai, I did start a halachic series on Even HaEzer. A different type of learning. Follow us on Biyachad, you'll see it. Also another series for women, halachic series for women only. Okay. Rabotai, welcome back. Welcome back to Dal Amot Shel Halacha. Ela LaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ela Arba Amot Shel Halacha Bavad. All Hashem has is the people that sit and learn halacha in their Arba Amot space. Today's shiur is going to be a little bit of a hefty one. It's going to be a roller coaster. Fasten your seatbelts because we're going to have to look into two other simanim, two other halachot that we have to incorporate in here in order to better understand what is going on. From one small tiv katan, you'll see how much Torah there can be learned. This is, Rabotai, what's called Im Tihiyu Amelim B'Torah. For a person, it's going to be Amot B'Torah, right? It says in Parsha Bechukotai, Im Bechukotai Telechu. If you're going to go in my choks, in my laws, then he says, Hashem says, I will give you blessings. Rashi says, when is that? Im tihiyu amelim batorah. If you're going to be amal batorah, you're going to toil in Torah, then you're going to have the blessings. But if you don't toil into Torah, no blessings, Rabotai. It goes with what the Chachamim tell us, not what we think, not what we like, what we feel. In any event, like I mentioned right in the beginning, when the music was playing, just to get the momentum going, we did start. Very, very important, Rabotai. I don't know why I'm doing this, but put it to you like this. Somebody asked me to help them with a specific woman. She wants to know halachot of women. I won't teach women. I don't give classes to women. It's not something a rabbi should do. There's different reasons why. Halachically, it's asur. Why is everyone doing it? Ask them. They'll give you many reasons to why. I spoke to some of them. But in any event, there are problems with shmir tanaim, the way they come, the way they dress, the way they smell, building a relationship with another woman. It's a very big problem, Rabotai. You know, I always give a joke. I met my wife through a shiur. Literally, I was going to St. John's still, I was going for public speaking, whatever. I met my wife in shul through giving a lecture only to women. I wasn't learned. I was just trying out. So whenever somebody asks me to give a shiur again, so I say, in a joking fashion, the last time I gave a shiur to women, I got married. All right, so in any event, Rabotai, this. We'll try to do this B'li Neder every single day. Again, of course, except Shabbat. Probably also, I'm not going to be able to do this on Sunday, probably. Try to do it 5 times a week, B'li Neder, B'Shem Hashem. This is a whole different level. This is nothing to do with Mishnah Berurah. It's clear halachot. Rabotai, Even HaEzer. Get a feel of what does it mean to know Shulchan Aruch. What we're doing is unbelievable, but Rabotai, we started making this just yesterday. It is an unbelievable thing. Just listen to it. You'll see, you'll understand what I mean, then you compare and contrast, you'll get a very big feel of two different types of learning. In the Tur Shulchan Aruch, like this in Even Ezer, you won't hear me say Cham Avadi, Rav Ben Abba Shaul, Rav Yitzchak Yosef, Rav Kavachaim, Rav David Yosef, because that's Talmidei Chachamim. I mean, again, they probably wrote things on it. I won't be surprised. I have a lot of books. I have a lot of books of Chacham Avadi. These books of Ein Omer was written by Rabbi Naki, who was Rabbi Chacham Avadi's right-hand man that would sit there and ask him questions like this. And he would write as he would give him the answers, and then he would bring all the sources down. So I do have Chazon Avadi. They probably did right. But I'm just trying to tell you that this is a different type of learning. See it, enjoy it, love it. Rabotai, it's time to grow. It's time to become Talmidei Chachamim. Tomorrow you sit down with your child, with your grandchild, with your grand-grandchild. When you're 90 years old, what are you going to be playing chess? Nardi, Shesh, all day. What are you going to be doing? Come, the children are going to come to you asking for berachot. Saba, grandfather, tell me, what's Pshat in Rashi? What's Pshat in this? What? They're going to come for you to get berachot. When was the last time you saw somebody go to a rich guy with $1 billion and ask him, give me a bracha? Nobody, Rabotai. Why? Because the Torah is what gives people blessings. In any event, let's get back into our learning Torah. A quick recap before we do start. We said yesterday in part 4 of the Shi'ur, the first halacha we brought down was that the Shulchan Aruch says that if a person was eating while it was still day outside, and then the sun set on him, he's allowed to continue eating even after nightfall. Not a problem. Came to Mishnah Berurah, and the Mishnah Berurah says, what's the novelty with the Shulchan Aruch telling me that if you were eating during the day, you're allowed to continue eating even after nightfall? Good, you started before sunset, you're allowed to continue even after sunset. So the Mishnah Berurah wanted to tell us a novelty, a certain chiddush. The Mishnah Berurah wanted to tell us that we're dealing over here with what's considered to be the beginning of the third meal. So the Mishnah Berurah said that when you're saying the bracha of Hamot Lechem Min Haaretz, that is considered to be the beginning of the third meal. That means if a person began at 5:59 to say the bracha of Hamot Lechem Min Haaretz, and he put the piece of bread in his mouth at 6:01, the Mishnah Berurah calls that we go after the beginning of the bracha, not after the beginning of the eating of the bread. So he looks at it as if you began before sunset, meaning you did begin before sunset, because that's when you said the bracha. So that's why if a person, for whatever reason, got ready, he showed 30 seconds on the time, he said, Hamot Lechem Min Haaretz, and then something happened out of his control, and then he sees the 6:02 and now he's eating the bread, we tell him, don't worry, you're good because you got the bracha in before sunset. We always go after the beginning. That was part 1 of the halacha. Part 2, we saw Chacham Avadia. Brings down what happens when you're dealing with mizanot. What happens when you're dealing with mizanot products, cakes, cookies, pastries. Can you apply the same rule? Chacham Avadia said, if you started eating mizanot products before sunset, you're allowed to continue up until Tzedz Kochav, when the 3 stars come out. Meaning you have the period of the Ben Hashmashot period. The 13.5 minutes, 50 minutes if we just want to round it off. So if it's 6 o'clock till 6:15, you're able to eat the mizanot. After that, you're not allowed to eat. But we did see Chacham Ben Abba Shaul said that you even have after, because his time, his Ben Mashot is 25 minutes. So you have to have even up to 25 minutes. But Rabbi Ben Abba Shaul said you are even allowed to continue into the night, even after 6:25. Where I did tell you, if you want to use that leniency, please ask your local rabbi, because I'm just trying to keep this in the direction with Chacham Ovadia Yosef's Zatal teaching. Okay. Rabotai, we started in part 4, the second phase of the Halacha of the Shulchan Aruch. Today we're going into part 5 of the Shulchan Aruch in Siman Reish Tzadik Tet. In Halacha Aleph, that's 299, Halacha 1, page 148, in Rabbi Dahan's Amudei Hora'am. We're starting in Siv Katan Gimel in the Mishnah Berurah, where he says in Miba'od Yom. We saw yesterday that the Shulchan Aruch said, Aval im haya yoshev ve'ochel miba'od yom, if a person was sitting and eating when it was still day outside, v'hashcha lo en tzarich lafsik, and it became dark, he does not need to go ahead and stop. Meaning when the sun set, he does not need to go back and stop. So the Mishnah Berurah says, Dafka b'zeh. Specifically in this case, we are going to tell you that you do not need to stop after the 3 stars come out. Why? Because you began to eat in a permissible way. Aval, however, but what happens if the person began in a forbidden way? Posek umavdil, I will explain. You have to stop and you have to do havdalah. You're not allowed to continue eating until you do havdalah. Rabotai, try to get over here. I'm going to try to go over here in this Mishnah Berurah. I'm going to go with the opinion of Chacham Ovadia and the Geonim, and not like Rabbeinu Tam. Because you have to remember what we spoke about in the previous halachic series classes, that according to Rabbeinu Tam, his second sunset is about 58 and a half minutes after the first sunset of the Geonim. That means if sunset is at 6 o'clock, according to Rabbeinu Tam, the second sunset is around 6:58 in 30 seconds. And then you have 13 and a half minutes after that, where you're looking about around 7:12, 7:13. So according to Rabbeinu Tam, night does not kick in up until 7:13. Now, we're not going to go in that direction of the Mishnah Berurah. We're going to try to go in the direction of the Geonim. I'm going to try to keep it in the realm of the Shulchan Aruch, meaning in the realm of Chacham Ovadia's Yosef understanding. You know, if you want to see it, I'll show you how it could be done. It's just going to be a little bit problematic, because according to the Mishnah Berurah, you know when you're going to start Be'isur? According to the Mishnah Berurah, Be'isur is going to be, let's say according to Rabbeinu Tam, 7:15, let's just make it round off the numbers. According to Rabbeinu Tam, if 7:15 is night, that means according to Rabbeinu Tam, if you begin in a forbidden way, meaning if you began within 30 minutes of when the 3 stars come out, that means in a forbidden way. One second, guys. Listen to this. Okay. Alright, let's do this. Let's draw some pictures. Let's get our hands wet. Oppa. Okay. Just want to show you why I want to stick to the Geonim and not Rabbeinu Tam. Again, you could learn it in the Rabbeinu Tam also, but I want to explain to you like this. If we're going to say, I hope you guys see that, if we're going to say that the first sunset is 6 o'clock in the world of Rabbeinu Tam, second sunset, let's say 6:50, whatever, let's say 6:59, whatever. So then we're going to say 13 and a half minutes, we're like around 7:12, whatever, 30 seconds. We're going to say it's nightfall. Comes the Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah Berurah is going to tell you that what does it mean if a person began in a forbidden way? Beginning in a forbidden way means like this, that if you're beginning within the 30 minutes of Tet Kochavim, that means, let's just make this like this. Let's say that this is 7:15. But I just want to make it a little bit simpler. I don't want to use the decimals and everything. Let's just use the 7 o'clock. Just keep it simple. You know, sometimes people like to make things complicated. I try to keep things simple. Maybe I do make it complicated, right? Anyway. It depends who you ask. Okay. Shh. It looks nice, you know. Even the numbers look nice. Anyway. Rabotai, what does it mean with the 30 minutes of Tet Kochavim? That's considered to be the forbidden time. Very simple. We go back 15 minutes. We go another 15 minutes. We hit 6:45. According to the Mishnah Berurah, what he's saying now, that when you're looking at it from the lens of Rabbeinu Tam, that if a person would begin 30 minutes within Tet Kochavim, that means at 6:46, we'll see right now, you would have to stop. Now, why is this a problem by us? Very simple. Because if we hold according to the Geonim, that they go after the first sunset, and we learn Ben Mashor is, let's just say 15 minutes, which is 6:15. If I'm going to plug in the words of the Mishabur beginning in a forbidden manner, you know what that has to be? At 6:16. That's a tremendous difference. You see what I mean? Because now, I'm sorry, but I do apologize. No, 1 second. No, 1 second. I apologize. 1 second. Once I made a very big, 1 second. Apologize about that. Start from here. If I'm going to use the Mishnah Berurah's logic of 30 minutes within Tet Chom, that's considered to be the forbidden time, then it comes out you have to stop eating at 5:45. But that's a problem because if we're dealing with Shabbat right now, if this was a regular day, as we'll see the halachot as we go on, there's a problem starting a bread meal at 5:45. There is a problem. But since it's a Shabbat, like we told Chacham Avad, since he says it's only Shabbat, you're allowed to begin even 1 second before sunset. But if we're going to use the Mishnah Berurah's logic over here, how you want me to use it? How can you tell me that this on Shabbat is considered to be in the 30 minutes of Tet Chom? It's also for me to start. We're allowed to start because of only Shabbat. So that's why, Rabotai, I'm not going to be able to use this over here because we don't follow this man. We can't follow this man. We have to follow this man. So whenever we're going to say right now that 30 minutes with the forbidden time, we'll see that by us, it doesn't apply really. But on a regular day, this situation would apply. As we will learn now as we go along. I told you it was going to be a roller coaster now. Alright, let's do this. Again, so I'm going to try to stick to the Geonim only because I want to get the halachot down. Listen, if I have to do Ashkenazim and Sephardim, woo. Anyway. So, the Mishnah Berurah says, again, we're going with the Zmanim of the Geonim. So he says, you know something? Let me do both. I'll feel bad if I don't do both. What can I do? That's just where I am. I can't. If I feel that I'm not giving everything, it's not good by me. I won't be able to sleep. I had one time a guy come to my house to put a Shabbos lock. So when they drill the door, it's very fascinating. When you drill the door, all the dust particles, whatever from the door, from the wood, they start falling on the floor. So I told him, I had a cleaning lady. I said, don't worry, leave it alone. And my cleaning lady's going to clean it. Why are you so worried? He said, let me tell you something. When I do my job, I got to make sure I walk out of here knowing that I did my job from A to Z. Everything's clean, everything's working, so I can go home and sleep at ease. Same thing when it comes to Torah. Same thing. I just have to make sure that people understand it, people love it, appreciate it, enjoy it. That's it, Rabot. That's all. So let's do both. Let's do both, man. Wow. Okay. He said like this. According to the Mishnah Berurah in the world of Rabbeinu Tam, if a person would have begun in a forbidden way, meaning in the 30 minutes of Tzedek Kochavim, from anywhere from 6:45 till 7:15, then Mishnah Berurah is telling us over here that he has to stop. He has to stop and he has to do Havdalah before he can continue eating. That is the law. Now, that is according to them. However, Rabotai, according to us, technically you're not going to have this problem. Because why? Because since you are allowed to continue eating, even during Ben Mashot, will allow you to continue eating even after twilight. After twilight, when the 3 stars come out, will allow you to continue eating, as we'll see now, because either you're going to daven in shul, or either you are in shul. So let's see this one more time. Specifically in this scenario, if you began during the day, will allow you to continue until nightfall. In this scenario exactly. You began to eat in a permissible way. But if you began in a forbidden way, meaning you began at 6:46, in the world of the Mishnah Berurah, not for us, for them, you have to stop. For us, it's needless to say, you can't even start. If a person decides to eat his bread meal at 6:16, for us it's a very big problem. Now, if we look into the Shar Tzion in Ot Vav, listen to what the Shar Tzion says. even though the Magen Avraham is saying this in the opinion with the one that says that Havdalah, when we do Havdalah at night, is from the Torah. So therefore, if according to the one that says Havdalah is from the Torah, he tells you have to stop. So if a person began in a forbidden way, so let's just go with our time, Rabota. Let's make it very simple because I want you guys to have it clear. If a person began at 6:16, because remember, sunset is at 6 o'clock, 3 stars come out when it's already 6:15. So if a person began eating at 6:16, which is in a forbidden way, we're going to tell you he has to stop and do Havdalah. Now, comes the Sharatun and he says that all this, what the Magen Avraham is saying, that is only according to the one that holds that Havdalah is from the Torah. Aval, however, Lema'an de Amar de Rabbanan, but according to one that holds that Havdalah is only from the rabbis, the Torah never instituted, the Torah never told you obligated to do Havdalah, is the rabbi that instituted it. Ein tzarich lefsok, you don't have to stop. Mekevan shekvar hidchil elechol, since you already began to eat. Now, so the case would be like this. If a person, according to the second opinion, according to the one that wants to say, man the Amr literally means man one, the Amr who wants to say basically. So according to the one that wants to say that if since it's from the rabbis, Havdalah is from the rabbis, you don't need to stop since you already began. You're not allowed to begin in the forbidden time. But if you began in the forbidden time, the way we're explaining it right now, he's going to tell you don't need to stop because it's only the Rabbanan. He says, Ein Sham B'Sefer Nahar Shalom Hiksha Alav. Look into the Sefer Nahar Shalom that he asked on the Magen Avraham. Lo Dami L'Sh'ar Davar Shu Midarbanan. It's not comparable to other mitzvot which are from the rabbis, to other things which are from the rabbis. Why? The hatam hatam mishum shem yishkach levad. Over there is only maybe you're going to forget. So if you're going to if it's only maybe you're going to forget and you started where you were not supposed to start, will allow you to continue. But in our case, that's not the case. The reason over here is not the reason why we tell you have to go ahead and do we're not telling you the reason why you have to stop and do Havdalah is because maybe you're going to forget and you're not going to do Havdalah. That's not the reason we're telling you to stop. Ela dekoidem kiddush vehavdalah hatima asur ba'atzmuta. No, it says because before kiddush and Havdalah, tasting itself becomes asur on you. It has nothing to do with a decree from the rabbis. Maybe you're going to forget. No, nothing to do with that. Valachen, therefore, afilu te'ima ba'amasur. So therefore, even tasting alone is asur. Imken, if so, mistabri makes sense. The afilu bide'avad tzarich lavsik. That even if a person began in a forbidden way, like we were explaining, whether you want to learn like the Bishop Brewer or whether you want to learn it like the Gyonim time, if a person began in a forbidden way, we're going to tell him bide'avad if it already happened. He started eating at 6:16, or in the world of Mr. Beru, he started eating at 6:46. We're going to tell you that it happened. Nevertheless, stop. Not like the way the Magen Avraham wanted to explain it, to tell us that according to the one that holds that it's only from the rabbis, you don't have to stop. No, even if it's from the rabbis, you have to stop only because it has nothing to do with maybe you're going to forget and not do Havdalah. It has everything to do with the tasting and eating of the food itself. That in itself is a sur. So if that's the case, what does it have to do with maybe I'm going to forget? It has nothing to do with a decree to fence the halacha. So that's what he tells you. If a person went ahead and he started in a forbidden way, he needs to go ahead and stop and do Havdalah. V'chein b'derech hachaim matmi alav aisham. And so too the derech hachaim was amazed on how the Magen Avraham wrote that this that he's writing on top that you have to stop, that's only according to the one that says Havdalah is from the Torah. But according to the one that holds that Havdalah is from the rabbis, you wouldn't need to stop your meal and you could continue. So, Rabotai, this is the Sha'ar Tzion. Now, okay. If we go back into the Mishnah Berurah, so now we can understand. So now when you're reading this Mishnah Berurah, you have to be able to incorporate the Sha'ar Tziyun that we just saw in Sivkat and Vav. When the Mishnah Berurah paskins over here that if a person went ahead, he doesn't actually paskin, he's telling us. That if a person began in a forbidden way, he has to stop and do Havdalah. That's even in the opinion of the ones that say that Havdalah is the Rabbanim. Why is that? Because when it comes to Havdalah and Kiddush, we're not telling you you're not allowed to continue to eat because maybe we're afraid you're going to forget about Havdalah and you're not going to do it. That's not the reason. Or by Havdalah and Kiddush, the reason behind them is the eating is the problem. Because once the Zman of Havdalah came, it's also for you to eat. Once the Zman of Kiddush came, it's also for you to eat. I'll give you a small example. Pesach, the time for, let's say sunset is at 6 o'clock. You can't start doing anything. The sun's at 6 o'clock. You got to start doing B'dikat Chametz. It has nothing to do, it's the time that forbids you, not the Gezer of the rabbis. Okay? So that's why he says, but if you began in a forbidden manner, you have to stop and you have to do Havdalah. However, he says, even without this reason of what we explained in the Sha'ar Tziyun, right? Even without this reason that the Te'ima is Asur, right? There's another reason why you have to stop. So I would read this case like this. However, in any event, tzarich livsok mishum kri shema shel aravit shi deoraita. Not only do you have to go ahead and stop and do Havdalah because you started in a prohibited manner, but he says in any event you do still need to stop because of Kriya Shema, which of Aravit, which is from the Torah. You have to stop for it. You have to say Kriya Shema. Therefore he says, again, that if you began eating 30 minutes within when the 3 stars come out. Again, so you have to see, are you going like Rabbeinu Tam or you're going like the Geonim? If you're going like Rabbeinu Tam, that's, when am I going to tell you have to stop and say the Kriya Shema if you began within 30 minutes? That's 6:46. According to the Geonim, on a regular day, it would be at 5, it would be at 5:46. Because 30 minutes before 6:15 will be 5:46. On Shabbat, we'll see we don't really have this problem. That's why I told you that this piece has to be learned more like the Mishnah Berurah in the world of Rabbeinu Tam. I'm trying to also make sense out of it with the Geonim to make it more practical. Now, he says, Ukidil'el b'siman reish lamed hey. He says, look above in Siman reish lamed hey, which we'll see that b'lineder. Ve'el esmoch al kriyat hashamash the Beit Knesset. Do not rely on the attendant that calls the people to go to the Beit Knesset. Va'afil b'makom shederech l'krot. Even it's in their place is the way that the attendant goes and he knocks on everybody's door to tell them to come and down Arvit. Still, you're not allowed to rely on them. Meaning to say that if you began in a prohibited manner, you have to stop and you have to do Kriya Shema. So not only do you have to stop and do Havdalah, you have to stop and also have to do Kriya Shema. So he says, he says, unless you're accustomed to going to the Beit Knesset on Shabbat, then we're going to tell that you're allowed to continue to go ahead and eat. Now, Rabotai, let me try to tell you a few points of Halacha inside the Mishnah Berurah before we continue. Point number 1, we saw in this Mishnah Berurah right now in Sivkat and Gimel. Where does the Shulchan Aruch tell you? I just want to make it simpler. Where does the Shulchan Aruch tell you that you're allowed to continue after nightfall, the bread meal? That as long as you began specifically during the day. Again, we saw according to the Mishnah Berurah, even if you began during twilight, you're allowed to continue because of Oneg Shabbat. Again, we saw this, Rabotai. It doesn't have to be really spelled out everything. Now, that's number 1. However, he said, but if you began in a prohibited manner, in the world of the Mishnah Berurah on Shabbat, this halach would apply at 6:46. In the world of Geonim, this halach cannot be applicable on Shabbat because 30 minutes before when the 3 stars come out, and that's 5:46, and we learned you're allowed to wash your hands because of only Shabbat right before sunset. So it cannot be applicable. So this law can be applicable on a regular day. On a regular day, if when the 3 stars come out is at 6:15, you're not allowed to have an official bread meal, meaning you're not allowed to eat more than 2 kibbetzah, which is around 56 or 58 grams, depending according to which rabbi you're going. But you're not allowed to eat more than that if you are within the 30 minutes. You first have to say the Shema, the Kriya Shema of Aravit, which is from the Torah. I'm not telling you to daven Aravit, the Shema, the Barakot. If you can do it, go ahead. I'm just talking about Shema. So let's just give you an example. A person comes home on a regular weekday, when the 3 stars come out at 6:15, he came home right now at 5:45. He sits down he wants to eat a bread meal at 6 o'clock. Is he allowed to? Absolutely not. What should he do in order to be allowed to eat the bread meal? Very simple. He's on the table. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad Baruch Shem, right? All the 3 paragraphs, V'ahavta V'haya and V'yomer. Then he's able to go ahead and eat the bread meal. It has nothing to do with davening. After he's finished, then he's going to go and he's going to daven. Now, this is on a regular day. So therefore, we see from over here, it's different than from Shabbat. However, we did see over here that if a person did begin in a prohibited manner, according to the Mishnah Berurah, if it's 6:46 on Shabbat, for us, if it's only on a regular day, like I explained, because on Shabbat you cannot apply that case. If you began in a prohibited manner, we're going to tell you have to stop, and you have to, according to the Mishnah Berurah, you have to do Havdalah. According to us, on a regular day, you're going to have to do Kriya Shema, like I just explained. And you're not allowed to rely on the attendant. Now, who's going to knock on your door today? Nobody, correct? So what we're going to basically tell you that if a person would put an alarm, a reminder on his phone, saying that that the Siri should remind him that he has to go to daven Aravit, according to the Mishnah Berurah is telling you right now, you're not allowed to rely on Siri to remind you to go and daven later. That you're not allowed to do, unless he says, if you yourself are accustomed to going to shul. So in this case, since we're dealing with Shabbat, so this is what the Mishnah Berurah will tell you. That if a person began at 6:46, we're going to tell him he has to stop and do Havdalah. Because anyway, he has to stop to do Kriya Shema, which is from the Torah. And he cannot rely on having someone else to remind him to go daven. That's not going to help him. He has to stop, he has to do Shema. However, he says that even after you went ahead and you did the Havdalah in order to allow you to continue eating, even after you went ahead and you did the Havdalah, but if you're going that same night, meaning on Saturday night, you're going to go and daven Aravit, and that's your minhag, you always go to daven Aravit, he's going to tell you, you don't really have to go ahead and say Shema Yisrael. You could rely for later on. Hope that was clear. That even if I began in a prohibited way within 30 minutes, since I'm going to go down Aravit later on, I don't have to worry about having someone else remind me to go to shul. Or I don't have to worry of saying Shema right now. Since I have to go anyway in daven and that's what I do, the Mishnah Berurah is going to tell you if you did begin in the prohibited time, you're allowed to continue. However, Rabotai, according to us, this is not going to apply to us. Why? Because this is going on Shabbat. We can apply the same case on a regular daily base. Meaning, on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Right? A person comes home, he decides to eat. He began to eat his bread meal. Beautiful. It's within 30 minutes. It's assumed he was not allowed to do it. So before we said he has to stop. When is that he has to stop and nothing's going to help him? That's because he doesn't go to shul. So we tell him he has to say Shema now and then later daven wherever he wants to daven. But now the Mishnah Berurah is adding another chiddush. But on a regular day, if a person started in a prohibited manner, you're not allowed to eat at 6 o'clock. Let's say you started. Since you started and you have a set minyan where you're going to go ahead and daven Aravit, we're going to tell you, you don't have to say Kriya Shema of the evening. Now, you could wait until you're going to go to daven Aravit at 8:30 or 9:30, whichever time it might be. So all this, Rabotai, was the Mishnah Berurah with the Sha'ar Tziyun. You see what I meant? But we still didn't begin anything yet. Anyway. Rabotai, if we look into Amudei Hora'ah in Ot Daled, he says like this. We spoke about it in the Mishnah Berurah. We said over there that if a person began, Rabotai, again, I'm sticking to the Geonim, I'm sticking to the opinion of Chacham Ovadia. Let's speak halachically. Alright, let's speak halachically. That's it. I explained to you, Mishnah Berurah, we're not going to go back and forth. I'm speaking to you halachically for the Sephardim now. So we said in the Mishnah Berurah that if a person during the weekday began eating within 30 minutes of the 3 stars coming out, we said as long as he has a set time to daven, meaning he goes to shul to daven, we explained you don't have to say Shema now. Comes Rabbi Dahan and he says, V'chen katav HaKavachayim, and so too the Kavachayim wrote in Siman Reish Lamed Hey Siv Katan Tetvav, She'al Yidei Shomer. Okay, he brings a Shomer again. Over there we saw in the Mishnah Berurah that a Shomer doesn't help you if you're not davening in the shul. Kavachayim is going to tell you Shomer can help you. Let's just see, there's difference of opinions. She'al Yidei Shomer, through a guard. It could be your wife, it could be your phone, it could be somebody that's going to remind you that you have to go ahead and say Shema. She'al Yidei Shomer, mutar lahatchil lechol samuch lezman kriyat Shema. He says, if you're going to go ahead and you're going to set up yourself a guard that's going to remind you, you're allowed to go ahead and you're allowed to begin eating close to the Zman of Kriyat Shema. You're allowed to start. Because that's going to remind you to say, you're not going to forget it. Aval, however, Halacha Birura, that's Rav David Yosef Shlita, Sham Si'if Zayin, in Siman Reish Lamed Hey, in Halacha Zayin, V'or L'tzion Chelik Bet Perik Tetvav Halacha Chet, Pasku, Rav David Yosef Shlita, and Chacham Ben Abba Shaul, they both made a Psak Halacha, the Lo Mehani Shomer B'Kriyat Shema. Setting up a guard to remind you that you have to say Shema will not help you. Shehi Mina Torah, because it's from the Torah. Aval Pisha Regil Avol Beit HaKnesset, even if he's accustomed to going to the Beit HaKnesset. Ela Yikra Kriyat Shema Belo Berchotecha, rather go ahead and recite the Kriyat Shema without its blessings. V'achar kach Ya'amid Shomer V'yochal, and afterwards set up a reminder that's going to remind you to go ahead and daven Aravit, the Shemona Esrei prayer, and then you could go ahead and eat. So that means a person wants to make himself a shomer, right? You're within the 30 minutes of Tzedek Kocham. Let's say during 6 o'clock. Let's keep to that equation. 6:15 is when the 3 stars come out. Going back, it's 5:45. 6 o'clock, you want to have dinner with your wife, but you didn't daven Aravit. Comes the Kafachayim says, make an alarm clock. Ask your wife to remind you to make sure you daven Aravit with Shema and everything, and now you can go ahead and you can start the meal with your wife. No problem, because later on you're going to go daven and you're going to say Shema of Aravit. Beautiful. But now you don't have to say anything. Comes Rav David Yosef Shlitam and the Or L'Tzion. They tell you, sorry, a Shomer, your wife is not going to help you. The reminder on the phone is not going to help you. Siri is not going to help you. The only way you're able to begin this meal with your wife is that before you start eating the bread meal, you say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, Baruch Shem V'chulu V'ahavta V'hayim Shemoah V'yom. You say the 3 paragraphs. Once you do that, now you can tell your wife, or you can put an alarm clock, please remind me to daven Aravit, meaning Shemona Esrei. Only then can you continue eating. Even he adds over here, even if you are accustomed to davening a shul every single night, Rav David Yosef and Chacham Ben Abba Shaul is telling you that that's not going to help you to bypass Kriyat Shema because it's from the Torah. ואף שקרא קודם זמנה, אפילו הכי מועילו הקריאה לעניין התחלת סעודה. He says over here that what happens if a person read the Kriyat Shema before, because that's what's happening over here. Let's do this, Rabbi. Rabbi Isai, did I not tell you it's going to be a roller coaster? Okay, watch this. Rabbi, let's see this more colors, black one. So the guy listened to his Shalom by the class, so he decided to take his wife out to go to Domo or reserve car, right? I don't know why, but okay. It's nice. It's nice. I've been there, Rabotai. Okay. Now, so we know that this is within 30 minutes. We know that this is within 30 minutes, and we know it's also for him to begin. Comes the Kafachim, he says, no problem. Warn your, make an alarm clock, make a guard for yourself so you're not going to forget. Eat with your wife, and then you go down at 9:30, Shema, Arvit, Shomnes, everything. Okay. Comes Rav David Yosef, Rav Ben Shul. Sorry. Absolutely not. That's not going to help you. When you decide to sit down with your wife, you should say Shema Yisrael first, and only then go and put on a reminder or ask your wife to remind you to daven Shema Esrei. But comes the Rav Dahani brings Rav David Yosef and he says, but you have a problem over here. When is Tzatz Kochavim? When do the 3 stars come out? The 3 stars come out at 6:15. If the 3 stars come out at 6:15, what does it help me by saying Shema right now at 6 o'clock? You hear what I'm saying? That's what he's asking over here. Even if you read Shema before Tzat Kochavim, because that's when you have to read Shema, when 6:16. But even if you read it before 6:15 at 6 o'clock, he tells you this recitation will help you to allow you to begin your meal. That will allow you. Now he says, look into Siman Reish Samach Zayin, and we also have to see into Siman Reish Lamed Hey. How is that? Rabotai, you have to understand. So I have to keep this here. Let's do this. Let's keep this here. Okay. We're moving. That's the most important thing, that we're moving. Rabotai, don't worry, we'll do a small chazara in the end. Bezrat Hashem b'neder. Don't get lost. Okay. Let's see Siman Reish Lamed Hey. That's in Chelik Bet of the Mishnah Berurah. What is the halacha? I need to know what the Shulchan Aruch says also, right? This is what, Rabotai, I say all the time. This is what it means to be today, to be a Talmud Chacham is much harder than the previous generation. What do I mean? In which sense? Today, I'm not only telling you Shulchan Aruch, I have to tell you other opinions also. Chacham Ovadia, Rav Yitzchak Yosef, Kaf HaChaim, Rav Ben Shaul, Rav Moshe Halevi, Ish Matzli. You have to, Rabotai, in order to, you gotta know, you have to know. Anyway, what does the Shulchan Aruch say? It's Siman Reish Lamed Hey, that's Siman 235, that's in page 298 in the Mishnah Berurah in Amudei Hora'ah. That is Halacha Bet, number 2. Asur lahatchil le'echol, it is forbidden for a person to begin to eat Chatzi Sha'ah Samuch Lezman Kriyat Shema Shel Shacharit, half an hour close to the time of Kriyat Shema of Arvit. That means if Kriyat Shema in our case, do you see why I couldn't go with the Mishnah Berurah? Because in that case over there, it's a little bit different. It's Shabbat instead of a weekday. Rabbi say not so pashut. If in our case, the time when you begin saying Shema, let's say, is at 6:16, within 30 minutes, that means close to 30 minutes of Tzatz Kochavim, that means around 5:46. What does the Shulchan Aruch say? Asur lahatchil lechol. That means at 5:46 or at 5:45, a person is not allowed to begin a bread meal. That's halacha in the Shulchan Aruch. Ve'im b'tchil lechol achar shehigia zmana. What happens if a person began to eat after the zman came? You began over here. You began eating. How'd you eat? You're not allowed to eat 30 minutes before because you have to say Shema. And you decided to go ahead and eat anyway. Or you began eating here and now you're going into it. What do? So he says, but if you began to eat once the time came, 6:15, mafsik, you have to stop the meal. Tell the Rebbetzin, I gotta say Shema. V'koreh Kriya Shema, you have to recite Kriya Shema. Below berchotecha, without its berachot. V'gmer sudota, and then finish the meal with your wife. V'achar kach koreh ota b'berchotecha mitpalal. Then when you're going to go to Shul, you're going to go ahead and you're going to recite the Berachot of the Kriya Shema, the Kriya Shema, and the Shemar Esrei like usual. Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to do it. But now the Shulchan Aruch is telling you that we don't allow you. One more time, Rabotai. Asur la'atchil lechol chati sha'at samach l'zman Kriya Shema shel Arvit. It is forbidden for a person to begin 30 minutes before the Zman of Kriya Shema. So a person has to know. Especially now that since we went 1 hour back, when is sunset now? Let me see something. This is very important. Let's see. Go back. Why don't you go back? Okay. Parshat Lech Lecha. Shkia today. Wow. Shkia today is 4:45. That means. I'm sorry. The Zman of Tzedakah. I apologize. Tzedakah is at 4:56. That means already around 4:20, 4:24, a person is not going to be allowed to eat the bread meal. So let's put it like this, Rabotai. Today, Parshat Lech Lecha, 2024, when Trump won, Baruch Hashem. Rabotai, listen to this. If a person wants to have lunch right now at work, right, he's not having it at 1 o'clock, he's going to have it later on. He has to make sure not to eat bread from 4:25. He can eat other things, but he's not allowed to eat bread from 4:25. Why? Because that's within the 30 minutes from when the three stars come out, which I think was over there 4:56. This, by the way, I'm using Chacham Avadi's time. Yes, 4:56 and 41 seconds. So we clearly show you how careful you have to be. Another halacha you learned, Rabotai. From that halacha you come to this halacha. So one more time, a chazar, it's very important to always redo it and do it. Rabotai, you have to understand, whenever you learn anything, minimum, do it 4 times, minimum. Not telling you 4 times to remember, 4 times in order for you to start understanding it. Okay. Asur la'atchil lechol chati sha'at samach l'zman Kriya Shema shel Arvit. It's forbidden for one to begin to eat half an hour close to the time of the Kriya Shema of Arvit. Ve'im itchil lechol achar shegiz zmana. If you began to eat after the Zman came, mafsik v'koreh Kriya Shema. You have to stop and recite Kriya Shema below berchotecha, without his blessings, v'gomer sudato, and finish your meal. V'achar kach koreh ota beberchotecha u'mitpalel. Afterwards, recite the Shema blessings with its blessing, meaning with Hashem's name, and David Shemar Esrei. Again, Rabotai, the Shulchan Aruch continues, and so on and so forth. There's much more in the Mishnah over here of the lean opinions. Okay, Rabotai, let's see something else. I want to see Kuf. Now, I just want to show you that halacha. Now we want to go into Kuf Samech Zayin. That's 160. No, that's 267. Not Kuf Samech Zayin, Reish Samech Zayin. Michilav, Reish Samech Zayin. Here. Reish Samech Zayin, halacha bet. Let's see it over here. Rabotai, a whole different world over here. We're going to have to do the Mishnah Berurah only to be able to understand what he wanted to say over there in the Amudei Hora'am. Now, this is going on tefillah of Mincha on Erev Shabbat. Okay, so just have an understanding where we're heading. Okay. Halacha bet says like this: Magdimim litpalal arvit yoter min biyot michilam. Magdimim litpalal arvit yoter mi bimot hachol. When it comes Friday afternoon, when it comes Erev Shabbat means Friday afternoon. When it comes Erev Shabbat, you have to begin to daven Arvit a little bit earlier from the regular weekday. One more time. Magdimim litpalal Arvit yoter mi bimot hachol. We proceed to daven Arvit earlier than the regular days. When is this, Rabotai? This is on Erev Shabbat. Ubeplag mincha yachol lahadlik ulekabel Shabbat b'tefilat Arvit velechol miyad. This is what we want to see. And from plag mincha, you know, let me see something. One second. See something. Let's do this. Let's show real time, yeah? So you understand. Today's time. Okay. Rabotai, here, let's make it realistic. Say today is Friday, Erev Shabbat. If a person, remember, when the 3 stars come out, it's at 4:56. When it's sunset, it's at 4:45. When is Plaga Mincha? 72 minutes before the 3 stars come out. So it's at 3:52 again, because remember, because by us, don't forget the rule. It's Sha'ot Zmaniyot, seasonal minutes. What does that mean, seasonal minutes? Our hour can be 48 seconds. I'm sorry. Our minute can be 48 seconds, 72 seconds, 60 seconds. Our hour can be 48 minutes, 50 minutes, 72 minutes. So that's why it doesn't look identical, correct, when you say 72 minutes, because the hour is shorter. Rabotai, so it comes out like this. So the Shulchan Aruch tells you like this. מקדימים לתפלה ערבית יותר מבמות החול, ובפלג המנחה, but already from Plag HaMincha, from 3:52, a woman is already allowed to accept Shabbat. She's allowed to light and allowed to accept. I was going to say something else, let me just leave that out. I was going to say that there's another halacha, which I shouldn't mingle halachot over here now, but there's another halacha that says that if a woman, let's say, lit the candles, does she accept Shabbat? No. A woman never accepts Shabbat by lighting candles. Either she has to say, I want to accept Shabbat with the lighting candles, or either sunset has to set, but by just lighting candles alone, she does not accept Shabbat. Because that's the whole beauty of it. That let's say if a woman has to go Friday night to the mikvah, or you guys have to travel somewhere Friday night, and then you're going to walk back home Friday night. So on Shabbat, so at 4:45, let's say, or even before 4:45, she lights the candles, and then she drives out there. So they come there before 4:56. Now, because you're able to use that 18 minutes if you need it. So use those 18 minutes. Let's say 4:54 you get there. And then when you come home, you still have the candles burning bright for you. So basically, you're allowed to use that. I'm just trying to show you that with candle lighting, you do not accept Shabbat. But that's why he says over here, Ube Plaga Mincha. But when it comes to Plaga Mincha, Yachol Hadlik, a person is able to go ahead and light the candles. Ule Kabel Shabbat, and to accept Shabbat, B'Tefilat Aravit. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to accept Shabbat in the evening prayer. Because when do you accept Shabbat? Either in the evening prayer, when you say L'chododi Boi Kala, or sometimes Moshe Shabbat, right? Different halachot. We'll see that later on, another. But the bottom line is what I want to show you over here is that from Plag Mincha, you're allowed to go ahead and you're allowed to start lighting the candles and accept the Shabbat of Aravit. But listen carefully. The Shulchan Aruch says, if you did it, everything over here, let's say you came out of shul, I don't know how long you'll be in shul from 3:15. Let's say you came out of shul at, let's just say 4:30. It's still, oh Rabotai, 1 second. Okay. Rabotai, this was a bad example for the Shabbat case. I'll tell you why. Because, I apologize. Because okay. Very simple. Watch this. See why I didn't want to do this? Rabotai, I'll tell you why. Let's go back to the halacha. If a woman wants to light at 3:52, correct? Or if she wants to light 18 minutes before 4:45, because Rabotai, remember, I forgot that this is sunset. Over here, this is sunset. Make a correction, Rabotai. I apologize. I don't want chashuv people making the error. Watch this one more time. Not up to 4:56, because I thought that this was candle lighting, so therefore you have 18 more minutes. Erase that. Erased. Okay. If a woman lit the candles 18 minutes, let's say a woman, she lit the candles around 4:30, 4:27, doesn't matter. She lit the candles. Does she have additional 18 minutes to play with? 100%. So that's the beauty of lighting candles and still being able to do what you have to do. You light the candles, and if you have to finish up in the house, you go ahead and you finish up. Or you have to travel somewhere, you travel. If you have to go to the mikvah, you drive your car to the mikvah, and then from there you walk back home. So it becomes very easy. Again, 18 minutes before sunset, not chas v'shalom when the 3 stars come out, because I made a very big mistake. This is when the 3 stars come out, but this period of here is twilight. And we know by twilight, it's asur to do anything. Apologies, Rabotai, very, very big apology. Whew, thank you, Hashem, for reminding me. When I said 4:30, something didn't make sense. Okay. Let's say, that's why the whole thing has to change now. Anyway, let's say like this, Rabotai. So now this is a very bad example. This is going to be a bad example. I'll tell you why. Okay, let's do this. Let's erase this. Let's do like this. Let's just put 4, 5 like this. Rabotai, if a person went ahead and he lit the candles after Plag Mincha, right? 3:53 is allowed to light the candles. Then he went ahead and he accepted Shabbat in the Aravit prayer. The Shulchan Aruch says he's allowed to go ahead and eat immediately. So let's do this. You davened at 3:52. Let's say you davened Mincha at 2 o'clock. You went, you lit the candles. You went to Shul at Aravit. How long can it take you? 4:15? At 4:15 you finished davening. You see why I didn't want to see Rabotai Hawaii. Hashem, I love you. Thank you, Hashem. At 4:15 you finished davening Aravit Shel Shabbat. Now you have another 30 minutes before sunset. That's a very big problem. Why is this a problem? Because the Shulchan Aruch already tells you over here, miyad, you're allowed to go ahead and you're allowed to come home and you're allowed to eat. Wait a minute. But what happened with the rule of 30 minutes in the Tzedek Kochavim? That you're not allowed to, you have to be careful not to be in the 30 minutes of the Tzedek Kochavim. What happened to that rule? Because when you're going to come home, you finish 4:15. Now, if we're going to go back, let's say sunset is, what time was it? 4:59 over there? Okay. Let's say sunset is at 5 o'clock. Go back 30 minutes, 15 here, 15 here. That means by 4:30, you're not allowed to eat bread. But the Shulchan Aruch tells you over here that even if you went ahead and you davened, you're allowed to eat bread immediately. Okay. Let's see this halacha. What do we do this 30 minutes within the Tzedek Kochavim? Let's see this, Rabotai. Okay, guys, I do really apologize for that. That's a nest. Hashem reminded me. Okay, Baruch Hashem. Okay, let's get back into the Shulchan Aruch. So one more time, the halacha inside, and then we'll go straight into the Mishnah after we have this clear understanding. Magdimim litpalal Aravit yoter mi bamot hachol. We proceed to go ahead and daven. On Friday afternoon, we daven Aravit earlier than the weekdays. Already by Plag Mincha, a person is able to go ahead and he's able to light the candles. And he's able to go ahead and accept Shabbat in the prayer of Aravit. And this is what we want to focus on. And he's allowed to go ahead and eat immediately. The Mishnah Berurah Siv Cotton Hay says, what does it mean he's allowed to eat immediately? What does it mean that he's allowed to eat? Hatam, the reason. The Kevin the Kibel alav Shabbat, since he accepted upon himself Shabbat, Vehotziv mechol ala kodesh, and he added from the mundane unto the kodesh, because there's a mitzvah to add unto Shabbat. Nershav ke Shabbat le'inyan zeh, it's considered to be for him Shabbat in regarding this. De yachol lekadesh v'lechol miyad. He's allowed to go ahead and do kiddush, and he's allowed to eat immediately. V'yuchal ligmor sudato mi'ba'od yom, and he's able to finish his meal when it's still day outside. He's able to finish his meal at 4:45, even before 4:45. This is the opinion of the Shulchan Aruch. You want to see something? Let's see the short, here. This is Magen Avraham, L'dina v'ataz, the conversation. Okay, fine. This is the Magen Avraham. The Magen Avraham says halachically, if a person went ahead and he accepted Shabbat at 3:52, which is Plag Mincha, and then he decided to have his whole meal, everything, before 4:45, we're going to tell him he was allowed to do it and it's not a problem. Why? Because once you accept Shabbat over here, this for you becomes Shabbat. It's no longer a regular day. So that's what the Mishnah tells you. You're allowed to go ahead and do Kiddush and eat immediately. And then he says you're even allowed to finish your meal when it's still daybreak. However, Rabotai, V'yesh cholkim v'suvrim. However, this is what we want to see. You have other rabbis that they argue and they hold differently. Shizaher limshoch sudato ad halayla. Number one, he has to be careful to go ahead and try to prolong his meal until the night, meaning until 5 o'clock, when the 3 stars come out. V'yochal kazayit balayla, and to eat a kazayit after 5 o'clock. V'tamam, and the reason, the kevel de gimel sodot yalfin mimad dichtiv ichluhu hayom ki Shabbat hayom laHashem v'gomer. Since we learn out the 3 meals that a person is obligated to eat on Shabbat, we learn that out from the pasuk because it says eat today because it's the day of Shabbat is for Hashem. But inyan shikayem otam biyom Shabbat atzmo, because of the pasuk in the Torah that says that you should go ahead and eat it on the day of Shabbat. So you want to try to make sure that you eat it on Shabbat and not in the period of Tosefet Shabbat, not in the period where you added it to be Shabbat because you accepted it earlier. Ulechatchila, listen carefully. Ulechatchila, the best course of action, the initial way, nachon lachush ledivrehem. It's correct for you to be to take their words into consideration. You should worry for their opinion. That means, what is the Yesh Cholkim saying? What are the other rabbis that are arguing on the Magen Avraham? What are they saying? That because of the verse, he's telling you, you want to try to go ahead. You could do Kiddush early. Start eating the bread early. But postpone it until when the 3 stars come out and eat a kazayit because you want to try to get 3 meals during Shabbat and the Shabbat day itself. If we look into Rabbi Dahan's in Ot Daled, he brings down over here, Uli Didan, Halacha. Ha'ikar leHalacha, the main Halacha is, Shimutar likadesh velechol mibe'od yom, kedat maran ha'shulchan aruch. Halacha Shulchan Aruch, Rabotai, we're going to hold that if a person accepted upon himself Shabbat earlier, like we've been explaining, he is allowed to go ahead and do Kiddush and eat immediately. No problem. You're even allowed to finish before sunset. Not a big deal. That's Halacha Shulchan Aruch. However, the Rabbi Dahan says, he continues and he brings the opinion of the Yalkut Yosef and Chacham Avad and the Kavacham, and he says, Mikol Makom, nevertheless, Tov v'nachon. It's good and correct. Sheyochal od kazayit pat acher zman tzetat kochavim. That you should eat another piece of a kazayit, about 27, 28 grams of bread, after the 3 stars came out. Meaning, in our case over here, after 5 o'clock. He says, Yalkut Yosef, Chazon Ovadia, Shabbat, Chalek Bet, Amud Yur Aleph, Kafachayim, Sif Katan Vav. Okay. So also the Mahadura in the Mahadura Bet, Amud Tav Samach Zayin, that's in the Yalkut Yosef. Umuvur, and it's explained, the Ika HaChumra Hainu Davka B'mitzvot HaSu'udah. Rabotai, what are we being stringent over here? That's specifically in the mitzvah of eating the meal into Shabbat. That's what they tell you, should have a kazayit after the 3 stars come out. Aval, however, HaKiddush, when it comes to doing the Kiddush, listen, I could do Kiddush, I could eat other things, no? Or your wife wants to drink water, what are you going to sit there and make her wait? Aval HaKiddush, mutar lechatchila mi'ba'od yom. However, when it comes to Kiddush, you're allowed to go ahead and do it lechatchila when it's still day outside, after Plaka Mincha, way before sunset. So, bottom line is over here is like this. He wants to tell us right now that the main stringency we have is on you starting your bread meal. That if it's better that you start your bread meal at 5 o'clock. It's better. But Kiddush you can already do after 3:52, after you're already down Arvit of Shabbat. He says over here, "V'chazar bo mema shekatav b'Yalkut Yosef shnat tavshin nun bet Halacha Zayin." Said Rav Yitzchak Yosef retracted his ruling, what he wrote in another Yalkut Yosef. שטוב ויכול להמתין מלקדש עד שהגיע זמן צאת כוכבים. In one of the prints of the Yalkut Yosef, over there he said that it's actually better to do Kiddush at 5 o'clock and to have the Kazayit at 5 o'clock when the 3 stars come out. However, Rabbi Dahan says he retracted his ruling and he holds that you're allowed to do Kiddush after Plag Mincha, but preferably you should start eating the bread meal after 5 o'clock. So too is the language of the Ben Ishchai. Shana Shni, the second year, Parsha Bereshit, Halacha Yud Gimel, Gabi Kiddush Be'od Yom Dimutar Lechatchila, V'nahagu Lakel, V'rak HaMachmir Tavol Lav Bracha. The Ben Ishchai says that when it comes to Kiddush and you want to do it during the day, you're allowed to do it Lechatchila. The minhag is to be lenient, but one who wants to be stringent, like the opinion the Mishnah Berurah brought down, the ones that argue on the Magen Avraham, he says Hashem should shower you with blessings. Comes down over here halachically, Rabotai, that if a person davens early Arevit on Shabbat, on Erev Shabbat, he davens early Arevit and he accepts Shabbat after Plag Mincha, and it's way before sunset, which is 4:45. Halachically, we're going to tell you are allowed to go ahead and begin your kiddush, your meal. You're even allowed to finish way before 4:45. That's halakha Shulchan Aruch. So whenever this is more, if you have small children or something, or it's getting in the way. This applies more in the summer when Shabbat comes in very late, like if Shabbat comes 7:40, 7:30, and you want to sit down, you want to eat it at 6:30. So that's where it's going to play a role. That you want to stand and eat, you're allowed to do it. Don't drive your way, wipe up the wall. You want to be machmir after everybody goes to sleep. You do kiddush, you eat, and then at 5 o'clock you're going to go ahead, or at that time it's probably going to be 7:30 at night, 8 o'clock. You go and you're going to have a kazayit. But you don't have to make the whole family wait for you just because you want to be a tzaddik. And that's the beauty of learning halacha. You have to know how to maneuver. Okay. Rabotai, the funny part about it is that we still didn't get to what we were supposed to see from the Amudei Horah with the B'toch Chatzi Sha'ah. That's why we came over here. Okay. In any event, Rabbi said, let's continue. The Mishnah Berurah Siv Katan Vav says, what is it miyad? What does it mean that he's allowed to eat immediately? He says, V'im la'achas yitpalal marvit ein ad halayla chatzi sha'ah. Here we go, Rabotai. This is what we want to see. Yes? Not here. Yes, Rabotai. This is it right over here. This is what we came down here for. What happens if the scenario, let's go back to our original scenario. What are we over here? Let's go back to our original scenario. Keep it simple, Rabbi. Keep it simple. Don't make it complicated. I know I'm making things complicated, but don't let me not make. Okay. Rabotai. What happens if a person with a head, again, this is in the world of the Mishnah Berurah. Again, stick with us, right? Stick with the Geonim, with Chacham Vadia. This is going to apply, Rabotai, specifically during the weekday. Okay? Or, let me see if it's going to apply also in the summer. Mm-hmm. No, actually, it applies to us also. No, not only it applies to us also. Why? Because not if Avdallah. This is the Kiddush part, so it's not. No, it's different. So there's a bigger problem with us. That's all. There's a bigger problem with us because. One second. I'll tell you why. There's another problem. Rabbi, so you guys thought it was just 1, 2, 3, correct? One second. Let me get it. My phone was off, so I hope people don't start texting me right now in the middle of. I'm going to my Zman, and I want to see the Ashkenazic time. Okay. Okay, let's do something? Let's do this live. Today, Parsha Lech Lecha, November 7th, 2024, Cheshvan, the 6th of Cheshvan. Today's date, watch this. Watch how beautiful Torah is. According to the Ashkenazim, sunset is at 4:44. Tzedek Kocham is at 5:26. This is why it's a little bit difficult to go ahead and just maneuver in the Mishnah Berurah. Just don't worry. We'll get over the hurdle. Don't worry. 5:26 is when the 3 stars come out. Okay. Our Zmanim 4:45. And when is Tzedek Kochavim? 4:56. Rabotai, do you see the very big difference over here now? You got another 30 minutes after this. So in the world of the Mishnah Berurah, what he's going to tell you on Shabbat, on Friday night, that if a person went ahead and he downed Aravit, if he's within the 30 minutes, that means with him, you have to be according to Mishnah Berurah, it's exactly like this. According to Mishnah Berurah, 4:56, we're gonna have this whole situation. If you shouldn't be able to begin in this 30 minutes. According to us, it's a little bit problematic. On Shabbat, for us, it's more of a problem. Why? Because if you davened, again, we have to go with the nighttime. Again, in the summer, it's going to be very hard to say that because when you're going to come home, it's going to be night. You know something? Let's do this. Now that I know it's half an hour separation, let's do like this. Let's keep it simple. Let's do like this. Okay. Let's go with the summertime. Let's say, again, man, maybe this is, now that I'm thinking, one second. Now that I'm thinking, the thing is, yes. Okay. Very simple. One second. Very simple. Let's say sunset is at 8 o'clock. I'm also going to have 8 o'clock. Hour 8:15. Theirs will be 8:30. Hour, we're going to go 1 hour back. Let's say around 7, 6. Yes, around 7 o'clock. They would be like around more or less 7:50. Okay. Rabbi said, watch this. I apologize. It's just, you have 2 opinions, it's not so partial to keep on jumping back and forth. This is the Mishnah Berurah, according to Ashkenazim. This is according to us. Sephardim, okay. Okay. Rabotai, watch this. Sunset by us is more or less the same. The only problem is when the Tzedek Kochavim kick in. We hold 8:15, they'll hold 15 minutes later, 8:30. But right now, what do we want to see? The Mishnah is going to say it like this right now. If after you already davened Aravit, you do not have till the night half an hour, so we have a very big problem with Rabotai. So let's say a person went ahead, he went, let's start with us. A person went ahead and he davened, because you're allowed to daven, remember, 72 minutes before Plaka Mincha. You went and you davened 7 o'clock Mincha. Now, 3 stars come out is when it's 8:15. But let's say you daven Mincha at 2 o'clock. You daven Aravit at 7 o'clock. You're home at 7:30. Now we have okay, even better. Now you want to start a meal. So now you have to be careful that you're not in the 30 minutes of 8:15. Do you guys see what I'm doing? Because if you're going to go back, that means at 7:45, boys, I'm going to stick with this. Just let's stick with this. The Mishnah Berurah says the same thing, just use it for the Mishnah Berurah time. That means if a person went ahead and he davened, let's say, Aravit at 7 o'clock, 30 minutes from 8:15 is going to be 7:45. So what is the Mishnah Berurah telling you? If you went after when you davened Aravit, you don't have 30 minutes before when the 3 stars come out. Before the night, you don't have 30 minutes. You are right now, 7:45, you're sitting down to have the meal with your family. You have to be careful now not to begin and eat over here. You have to be very careful not to begin the bread meal. To do Kiddush, you can do Kiddush like we saw. Rabotai, everything that we said on top in the Shulchan Aruch, where it says V'lechol miyad, that you're allowed to go ahead and do Kiddush and eat immediately, that was as long as you were not in the 30 minutes of night. Or the summer, you're already way after night. So we don't care what you're doing. But over here, you have a problem. That if I'm in the 30 minutes of Tzedek Kochavim, I'm not allowed to begin my bread meal on Shabbat. Or for any other day, like we're in the Mishnah Berurah in Siman Reish Amdei. Eli yamtin ad ha'erev, rather wait till the evening. V'yachzor v'yikra kriyas Shema below berachot. Below berachot. You have to go back and you have to read the kriyas Shema without the berachot. V'achar kach yochal. And only afterwards can you start beginning to eat. Rabotai, remember what we started with. I know, probably got lost right by now. We started with the whole concept with Rav David Yosef Shlita telling us in Siman Reish Tzadik Tet. He explained to us over there that if a person wants to eat with his wife a meal, maybe I should have done all these times. I should have just kept to our times. Anyway, it doesn't matter. If a person went ahead and he started the meal with his wife, and that's within 30 minutes of Tzedek Kochavim, Rav David Yosef Shlita says, since from the Torah, nothing's going to help you. Even if you have to go down shul later, it's not going to help you. You have to say Shema now. But I have a problem. But you're beginning the Shema way earlier than what's required of you. Because you're saying Shema when? At 6 o'clock, like we were bringing the example. You're saying Shema before the Tzedek Kochavim come out, before the 3 stars come out. So that's why, Rabotai, we're coming over here now, and he's telling you over here that if a person, he went to shul on Shabbat, on Friday night, you daven, Aravit, everything, now you come home. Now when you're about to sit down, if he sees 30 minutes before when the 3 stars come out, like I've been explaining this whole time, you're not allowed, you have to be careful not to begin the bread meal until you do Shema. Because remember, within 30 minutes, you're not allowed to begin the Su'udah. Why? Ho'il ulaharbe poskim lo yatsa yedei chovat kriyat Shema kodem halayla. Because according to many poskim, you do not fulfill your obligation before the night for Kriyat Shema. Because you remember, you said Kriyat Shema at 7:15. How are you yotza at 7:15 when sunset, when 3 stars come out is at 8:15? Mihu, however, he says, Hanoheg lahakel b'zeh en lemchot biyado. But if you have a person that he wants to be lenient, that's what Rav David Yosef was saying. He wants to be lenient. He wants to go ahead and he wants to say Shema after 7 o'clock. And now, even within the 30 minutes, he wants to go ahead and he wants to begin the bread meal. The Mishnah Berurah says, however, one who wants to be lenient in this, you do not have to protest against him. Don't have to protest against him. Because he has what to rely on. All this is in regarding to allow you to begin to eat. But when it comes to Kriyat Shema itself, which is from the Torah, you shouldn't rely on this time. That means what we're allowing you right now to go ahead and be able to say the Shema before nightfall, but after Plag HaMincha, that you cannot rely that you fulfilled your obligation. However, when it comes that if you said Shema after Plag HaMincha, over there we're going to tell you that allows you to go ahead and have a meal even within half an hour of the nightfall. You're allowed to go ahead and continue eating your meal, and then you can go ahead and daven after you made yourself a guard or alarm clock or something like that. That's what he's telling over here. Now, Rabotai, let me just go back for a second. Just one short like this. That Rav David Yosef said, even if you read it before its time, before nightfall, even in such a case, the reading of the Shema is going to help you. Why? In regards to when it comes to beginning the meal. And that's what we're looking now over here also. That's exactly the case. That if a person, for whatever reason, davened, you know something? Better case. But I hope you guys are with me. Better case. On a regular day. Today you're not going to have this problem only because an hour's back. In the summer you have this problem. A person, he goes and he davens after Plag HaMincha, Mincha and Arvit immediately. Not like the Rav David Yosef is saying, Mincha Arvit immediately. Now he wants to come home. If you're within half an hour of Tzedek Kochavim, you're not allowed to start eating until you say Shema. As simple as that. We saw over here that the Mishnah says if you want to be lenient, you can be lenient. You have what to rely on. But preferably there is a mitzvah to say Shema before you start eating a bread meal within 30 minutes, even though you already said Shema. Rabotai, again, if you said Shema after Plag HaMincha, you daven Mincha Arabi, you already daven, but you're within 30 minutes. Since you already said Shema, we're going to tell you what? Within 30 minutes, say the Shema now, and then continue. One second. No, one second. I apologize, one second. No, one second. That's another opinion, one second. Right, you don't have to say that. I apologize. Yes, you don't have to say that. Okay, correction. Two cases. Case number one is if it's after Plag HaMincha, if you already said Shema after Plag HaMincha, we're going to allow you to begin a meal during the 30 minutes within nightfall. We're going to allow you because you already said Shema. You're allowed to rely on that as long as you remind your wife. But what happens if you didn't say Shema before Tzedek Kochavim? You didn't say it. Now you are 30 minutes in the period before Tzedek Kochavim. You're 30 minutes. I say 6:15 is when the 3 stars come out. 6 o'clock you want to sit down and eat. But you didn't say Shema before and after Plag HaMincha. You didn't say Shema. We're going to tell you over there, you're not allowed to continue until you say Shema. Okay, so that was the confusion I had. Just wanted to clear that up. So that's what he's telling you over here. However, if somebody wants to be lenient in this, do not protest against him. He has who to rely on. All this that we allow you to go ahead and do, that's in regarding into eating, we're going to tell you that the Shema that you said after Plag HaMincha will allow you to eat even within 30 minutes of the of when the 3 stars come out. But however, when it comes to Kriya Shema itself, do not rely on the recitation that you said after Plag HaMincha, which is way before when the 3 stars come out. And be careful to recite the Shema at night. To go ahead and fulfill your obligation in Kriya Shema. Now, Rabotai, let's see this one more time. Okay. This is where we want to get. Now we want to see Sivkat and Hey in the Amudei Hora'am. He says, Mihu HaNoheg. Right, that if somebody has a minhag to go ahead and daven early and then to rely on this leniency to go ahead and continue eating, right, because you already did say Shema. He says, V'kafachaim ve'yalkud Yosef. The Kafachaim is Sivkat and Zayin in Siman, Rei Samach Zayin, and the Yalkut Yosef, in Mahadura Bet Amot Tav Ein Vav, Pasku, they made a Pesach Halacha. Let's see the Halacha. She'im itpalal aravit. If a person davened aravit, v'karat Kriya Shema miplaga mincha, and he recited Kriya Shema after plaga mincha, ve'elach and onwards, mutar lo lahatchil le'chol afilu toch chatzi sha'at samach l'zman Kriya Shema. You're allowed to go ahead and begin to eat the bread meal, even in the 30 minutes close to the zman, the time of reciting the Shema. In this scenario, you're not called that a person who didn't say Shema because you really did say Shema. And how is that possible? He says like this, Umashma, and it's applied, De'ela hakel b'ze'ela b'zman at-samuch l'kriya Shema. V'chein katav b'halacha b'ruah. But it says it's implied that you could only be lenient that specifically in the zman, in the 30 minutes which are close to the time of Shema. And so to Rav David Yosef wrote that in Siman Rishon Amid Siv Tet. But however, you have to understand, she'im kvar higiya zman, but if the zman of the Kriya Shema already came, lo yadchil su'udato ad she'ikra Kriya Shema. But you're not allowed to begin the meal until you recite the Shema. Sha'afal pi shekvar kar'a bezman plaga mincha. Even though you already recited it from plaga mincha. Afilu hachi, even in such a scenario, ba'inyan will require she'ikra Kriya Shema kitikuna miyad b'tichilat zmana kimavur b'shulchan aruch. In such a situation, Abotai, since the Zman came, immediately you have to begin saying Kriya Shema. You're never going to be allowed to continue eating it without first saying Kriya Shema. So, what is Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shlita saying? The Kav Chaim, Rav David Yosef Shlita says like this, Rabotai. This whole leniency that the Mishnah Berurah brought down, that if you already davened Aravit after Plaga Mincha, and now you want to begin a meal within 30 minutes of the 3 stars coming out, that's good when you're within the 30 minutes. But once the time of Shema comes, you have to stop. You're not allowed to continue. That's what he says. But he says, She'im kvar higiya zman Kriya Shema lo yadchil sudato. But once the zman of Kriya Shema came, do not begin your meal. This whole heter of beginning the meal is within 30 minutes. So if a person came home, let's say, in this scenario, let's say a person came home at 7:45, right? Because we're saying over here, no, 6:45. These times could drive you up to 1 second. Okay. So it comes out over here that if we're going to go back 30 minutes, within 30 minutes, if you came home after Shabbat or on a regular day, whatever the situation might be, if you came home and you're within 30 minutes, since you already davened after Plaga Mincha, you davened Aravit already. We're going to tell you it's not a problem for you to go ahead and eat within 30 minutes. So if you want to start the meal 7:46, 7:47, we see the Mishnah Berurah says you can be lenient, you don't have to protest against him, he has what to rely. We see the Kav Chaim says mutar, Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shita says mutar. They say that you're allowed to go ahead and you're allowed to eat the bread meal. However, they make a Rav Dahan stresses this very important, and he says like this, very much. But let's say the case is not like this. Let's say a person came home and now he wants to begin his meal at 8:15 when the time of Shema came. Over here, we're not going to allow you to start the bread meal. In this scenario, we're going to tell you to first say the Shema and only then begin the bread meal. What do I mean? But I said Shema over here. Correct. This leniency, when you said Shema, that's only if you're within 30 minutes of Kriya Shema. But once you already reach the Zman of Kriya Shema, they're all going to tell you that you have to go ahead and you have to say Shema, and you're not allowed to start. Give me 1 second, I do apologize. 1 second, guys. Somebody's just knocking on my door. Just want to make sure. 1 second. Yes. Guys, be right back. Just 1 second. Muchas gracias, Sonia. Muchas gracias. Okay. Just had to open the door for the cleaning lady. Okay, anyway. Rabbi, let's get back into this. So that's what Rabbi Dahan brings out over here. That once the time of Krishma came, you're no longer allowed to go ahead and continue eating. He brings that over here in the parentheses and he said like this. Amnam, he says, Lefi Mashi Shibi'er Maran Beit Yosef. But what Maran, the Shulchan Aruch, the Beit Yosef himself, what he explained, Ein tam lechalek bazeh. He says, you have to go ahead and you have to separate, you have to differentiate. The hi chechet de samchin al svar Rabbeinu Tam, sheyatza yudei chovat hakri shema meplag mincha, legabe echil samach lezmana, hachinam le'inen hadin de tzarich lekrota betchil lezmana, nami samchin al svarat Rabbeinu Tam, ושהבדמי לאכול קודם קרי שמע, אף שכבר הגיע זמנה של תת כוכבים. זה דעת עצמו, וכן הוא סתיב לו האור לציון, אין ביאור הרעה. רבותיי, Rav Dahan says like this. This is beautiful. Torah is beautiful. So many opinions. I told you it's going to be a roller coaster. Rabbi, I told you. Rabbi Dahan says like this. The Beit Yosef did not make this difference. The Beit Yosef did not make the difference what Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shita is saying and Rav David Yosef, that if you davened after Plag HaMincha, if you already said Shema after Plag HaMincha, then when you're within 30 minutes of the 3 stars coming out, you're allowed to start your bread meal because you already davened you already said Shema, because initially. They want to say that once the Zman Krishma comes,